What if you could meet the person you used to be? Not in a photograph or a memory, but face to face. A genuine, living encounter. For me, it wasn't a philosophical question. It happened last Saturday. Around 8 a.m., I had just parked my ice cream truck in a familiar neighborhood and was unlocking the service window to start my shift when my first customer of the day revealed himself. He was already there, waiting, staring open-mouthed at the dizzying wall of ice cream, a battered skateboard tucked under his arm. He was me, not a look-alike, not a ghost, me. 16 years old, wearing that ridiculously baggy band t-shirt I'd saved for months to buy, the one with the cracked logo. His curls were wild and careless, just like mine used to be. And on his right wrist, that faint white scar from when he'd fallen off his bike trying to impress Sarah Milner. My heart didn't just skip a beat. It performed a full-blown gymnastics routine. The service window slipped from my hand and hit the truck with a dull thud. I yanked it open again. His eyes, my eyes, but brighter, less guarded, widened. He didn't recognize me as the 31-year-old version of himself. To him, I was just another ice cream man. You okay, man?" he asked, his voice a pitch higher than I remembered my own being. It was like hearing a recording from a forgotten time. I couldn't speak. My mind was a scrambled hard drive of two lives trying to coexist. That was the kid who stayed up all night learning guitar chords until his fingers bled. The kid who believed, truly believed, he was going to be a filmmaker. And what was I now? Leo Walker, a businessman, or plainly, an ice cream seller? "Fine," I croaked, forcing a smile as I tried to latch the window properly. "You just remind me of someone I used to know." He grinned, that same crooked grin that used to drive the girls in art class wild. "Yeah? People tell me I have one of those faces." The irony was thick enough to spread on toast. Was this a hallucination? A stress-induced breakdown? Or the universe offering me a receipt for a life I never purchased? "Can I get a scoop of chocolate in a waffle cone, please?" he said. "Here you go," I managed. My hands shook slightly. He tried to pay, but I waved him off. He smiled, surprised, licking the ice cream as he lingered by the window, and I just stood there watching him, still trying to make sense of everything. "Are you waiting for someone?" I asked, my voice steadier now. "Nah," he shrugged. "Just killing time before I meet my friends. We're filming a short movie down by the old train yard." He lifted his skateboard slightly. "I'm the director." Of course he was. The Black Feathers. That was what we called ourselves, our dumb, fearless little crew. My chest tightened. I remembered that day. The film was terrible. The camera was shaky. The dialogue, unforgivable. But the passion was a roaring fire. "That sounds cool," I said, and the words felt like a betrayal. "What's it about?" His face lit up. He launched into a wild plot about time travel and a lonely watchmaker. Nonsensical, brilliant, and utterly sincere. As I listened, I wasn't standing in my ice cream truck anymore. I was there again, in that open field by the rusted tracks, feeling the summer heat, hearing the clatter of skateboards, believing this was the start of everything. He finished, a little breathless. It's probably gonna suck, but you gotta start somewhere, right? Right, I whispered. The word caught in my throat. The clouds above us darkened. The air began to hum with the promise of rain. He shifted on his feet. Well, I should probably wait. The word came out before I even knew why. I reached for my wallet, my movements frantic. I pulled out a card, thick, embossed, utterly soulless. Then I turned it over and scrawled on the back, "Here." He looked at it, puzzled. There it was, Anya Petrova, director, New Voices Film Festival. "A film festival?" he said, eyes narrowing. "Her email is on there," I said, my voice low and intense. "She's a friend. When you finish your film, and the next one, and the one after that, you send it to her. You tell her I sent you. Don't get discouraged. Don't let anyone tell you it's not a real job. Just don't stop." He studied me, suspicious, curious, trying to figure out my angle. "Why are you doing this?" he asked finally. I looked at him, at the skateboard, the messy hair, the hopeful eyes that hadn't yet learned what giving up felt like. I saw every dream I'd buried under bills and deadlines, and I gave him the most honest answer I had. "Because you reminded me of someone I used to know," I said softly, "and I really, really hope he makes it." He smiled, a real one this time. "Thanks, man. I will." He tucked the card into his pocket, nodded once, and rolled away. Skateboard wheels whispering against the wet pavement as the drizzle began to fall. I stood there, motionless, the hum of the freezers mixing with the soft patter of rain. The weight I'd been carrying for years felt different, lighter, but also more real, like I'd finally learned how to hold it properly. I stepped outside and looked up at the sign on my truck. "Leo's Sweet Treats Mobile Ice Cream," and I nodded. I never saw him again. Maybe the universe only gives you few minutes. But I realized something. It wasn't about changing my past. It was a warning from it. A flare shot up from the boy I was, signaling the man I'd become. "You're off course." I took out my phone, my hands trembling not from the cold, but from a long, dormant sense of purpose. I opened my browser, my thumb hovering over the screen, and then I typed it in. The first search I'd made in 10 years without a business purpose. Where to buy a good used video camera. Because the most unexpected reunion with your past self isn't about getting a chance to talk to them. It's about finally being brave enough to listen.